A quote from Albert Einstein. I believe in intuition and inspiration. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. It is, strictly speaking, a real factor in scientific research. I too believe in intuition and inspiration, but like an artist, I will brush upon the canvas of your mind. With your permission, of course. May we begin? George, say stop, and this will be your card. The 6 of spades will remain under your care here. Another shall be used as well, placed apart and over there. Imagine the impossible, from here to there. Betwixt your thoughts you fluctuate until reality submits, and replaced by pure imagination. Swear all you want, but it happened. Shall we do it again? Your card is here, but then moves there, and comes back. Thank you. What? Was that not more difficult? They did switch twice. Okay, we bring the center to the top. Imagine this your card. Now know that it is. Imagination wins again.
I'm Christopher Rose, here for representing Sans Minds and all the people at home who want to learn this material. And I don't know who you are, though. Like, you're just here.
Who am I? I'm Armando Lucero. You don't have to roll the R.
This is DVD 2, I guess.
Yes, and you'd be better to explain it because you design the...
Yeah, I help put everything together, and this is just a continuation of similar ideas and maybe concepts that I think are a little bit deeper, and although you probably think they're all the same.
No.
Of depth. I mean of depth. They're all the same depth. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more of the same, but I think it's a little bit more extensive. Like you said.
More extensive. Yeah. Well, I think I'm ready to get into it.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
So for this one, Betwixt Me, or Betwixt Me-ish, because I have a piece that's called Betwixt Me, and this one is similar, but I basically adapted it so that more people can do it.
Yeah, I've seen this trick evolve over many years, just from different students that you have. This is always kind of a student favorite.
Yes, I first developed it as an exercise for some particular moves and a study. I never intended them to perform it, though, but it kind of took off. People fell in love with it. So I decided to put together some performable versions. And I have several, but this one is probably the more accessible one for people. So
sure.
It requires 4 aces and 2 jokers.
Does it matter what order they're in?
No, doesn't matter. Okay, and you take the 2 jokers and place them back to back, or face to face on the bottom.
On the bottom.
Yes.
All right.
And you take the 2 aces in both hands and place them face to face on the top.
Okay, so on the top I have 2 aces face up.
Yeah.
2 aces face down.
Yeah.
Like that.
And so this is easy to remember. Face to face jokers on the bottom, face to face aces on the top, and you're set.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So from here, you're going to ask somebody to say stop, or you can spread the deck, whichever way you prefer. I usually like doing this.
Stop.
Right there. And now I show them the card that they selected. Now, this could be any card in the middle of the deck. It doesn't matter what card it is. But I like to show it twice, and that is a conditioning of to prepare them for the double deal that I'm going to do. But I want them to get familiar with this move.
Because this looks unusual.
It looks unusual because I'm going to dig my finger in deep like that. So I kind of do it in similar fashion so that the next time they see it, it's already familiar to them. They've absorbed it in their mind. They realize that it's not really that important,
Okay.
So the second time they see it, they think it's the same thing that I've just done.
Sure.
There it is, a conditioning. Okay, so now I'm going to gesture towards them. Remember this card. as I prepare to do the push out and do the double deal, which I explained before in the other DVD. And I turn it over. And so now it's changed to the Joker. And from here, I'm going to break from this moment to reach for the box and lay the card down. Now, what's the purpose of this? This seems so subtle. So I find that there's less heat when you break that moment, because right now they're scrutinizing. And suppose I do this all at once. Well, there's going to be some wonder there. So all I'm doing is I'm creating a pattern interrupt in that moment. So let me get this back here.
Sure.
So now here's the 10. I gesture that way. I turn it over. I reach over here. That breaks the moment just enough to take some heat away from the subterfuge that I just did. And I don't stop there. I continue to turn over this one, also with a double deal. So
yeah,
now
I can feel my attention being managed by you when you're doing that, which is I'm looking here, and now
you can feel it because you're a magician, but you mean that you're aware that
I'm saying it's working. Like my attention is going. Was that weird? Oh wait, never mind. He doesn't care about it, so I shouldn't care.
Right,
you bring the box in, which is sort of communicating that this is.
Yes, and this is
not the most important thing right
This
now.
is not just with the double deal. I mean, let's look at this more closely, not just with the double deal. Let's say we're doing just a regular double lift. If I was doing a regular double lift and then I looked at the box, see that all the attention goes there, and then I drop this down. There's not as much attention being put upon the double lift, so it's hard for them to catch any subterfuge if it was happening. And so you're basically forcing them to look over here momentarily, which is taking their attention away and reduces the attention here. Yeah. And that protects the subterfuge because they cannot scrutinize so much the action where the subterfuge is happening. And that's all it does. It's really, really simple. I think one of the problems that I have with double lifts is that if you do a double lift and you say, look at the 6 of spades. Now I'm going to put it right there. Okay. There's a lot of heat on the double lift right now. Look, hold out your hand.
Sure.
There's still heat on the double lift, especially if you're doing this. If you say, here's the 6 of spades, and I'm going to exaggerate what a lot of people do. Here's the 6 of spades, and then I say, would you hold out your hand?
Yeah, I mean, you're asking me to question that.
Yes,
pretty
that's
much.
not good.
Yeah.
I mean, that brings a lot of heat because you're going into showing and then into hiding, and then they're going to be suspicious. What would be a better way? Well, first of all, you don't want to be that far. I'm exaggerating for a reason to make a point. So here's the 6 of spades. Oh, by the way, could you do me a favor and just hold out your hand like that?
Sure.
Thank you. And take your other hand and put it over. And you move on.
Yeah, I felt nothing there.
Yeah. Another way to do it is if you actually, let's say you take the 10 of hearts, right? And then I say, would you hold out your hand? All right, we're going to put it right there. And you purposely let them take the heat, and then...
So if I happen to...
yeah. And you have to look.
Nothing's happening.
Yeah, did I tell you to look?
No.
I didn't tell you to look, and then you do a switch, right? Right? And then you show the 10, and you go, all right, I'm going to do it with this person because he can follow the instructions, right? Could you hold out your hand?
Right. And now, I mean, I'm looking away, I'm laughing,
Yeah, so
I'm not even thinking about
basically,
what
you're
just
baiting suspicion, and then you're closing that door.
I took the bait, man.
Yes.
It worked. I feel like
Well, there's many
fish
ways to do
and
this, of course.
Sure.
So let's get back to this.
Yeah,
This is the
of course.
four aces face to face on top, and the jokers face to face on the bottom. So let's go from the beginning again because I distracted the whole thing.
It's okay.
I asked them to say stop.
Sure, stop.
I cut the deck, and I leave the deck to my right for a reason. And then their card is shown. Now they see it. I turn it back over, and sort of as a, by the way, I don't want you to forget your card. Right? Now, the reason I go this way is because I want to lose the subterfuge in the middle. Right? So they look at my hand. I come here. I do the double deal. Then I come over here, take the box, And the subterfuge happened in the middle of all that action. It's harder for them to remember the middle part. They tend to remember the first and the last parts of a moment, so it's more protected. Okay, so from when you're laying the box down, you immediately begin the next part. So you're laying the box down and you're pushing out the top card, getting ready for a double deal again, and immediately do the double deal. All right, so you just can lay it down on the deck. If the deck is prepped so that it's got a natural bevel on it, if it doesn't, you can put one in. But basically, you can put some pressure in the middle like this, and that card will just nicely slide on the top. And you can turn it over. Now, if you don't have a deck that's nicely beveled or it's not new, then another way to do it is after you do the double deal, you can catch it with a heel break like this, and then you can do the same thing. I spoke about this before.
Sure.
Okay. From here, we're also going to do a pattern interrupt. So it's sitting right here like this, and now I look here, pick this deck up. It does the same thing as the box did, breaking the pattern, and you put the card down. And you could lose this joker, so it doesn't matter. So you're set. Everything is already done. You've already switched the cards. They don't know it yet. Now the magic begins. Every time you do something, you're preparing for something else. So while you are doing the magic moment, so they think, I get a pinky count for 4 cards. Keep a pinky break. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's all the aces, basically. And you're doing that while you're doing the magic. And I could feel that I've got it. So from here to there, that's the magic moment. That's the most important moment for the audience, you know? That's when they think everything happened. And now here's the proof, the reveal. And that's the magic. The joker is there now. It wasn't before. Another card has transposed to this position.
And you're using my reaction to
Yes.
the joker, because I mean, I'm going to be surprised as a
Yes, they're
spectator
going to be
that
in
this-
awe at this moment.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, and don't go fast because this is a beautiful moment. So you just want to milk it. Whoa! They're amazed.
And now I want to. Yeah, I felt it. I want
Yeah.
to know what that is now.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And now you show it. The whole time though, you have that break under the 4 cards, and make sure that you keep your finger taut to keep this down.
Yeah. Otherwise, I
'Cause
guess
that-
this pops up.
I've
and-
noticed a tendency for some people to just let go like this, and look at that. You can see everything. So keep that taut. And now from here, you're going to show both. You're going to turn your hands over like this, but what you're really doing is you're coalescing this card together with the packet.
You're always
right?
preparing for something.
Yes, while they think you're doing something else. I'm just. It looks like I'm clarifying that there are just 2 cards there, and how the hell did this happen, right? And then you come back on top here. Now,
Like
what
this.
that's doing is it's hiding the thickness that you're going to. That could show if you're when you do the turnover, but you're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to see it this time. So you come back here and look at that. I've got all the cards, including the aces, underneath. So I'm doing that. Come back, and now look how nice that is. They don't see the thickness. You just turn over. Yeah, all those cards, and now you have this. I'm going to do that again so you can see what
Yes,
happened.
please.
So as I reach, as the magic happens, I'm getting my break under 4 cards. I do the magic.
Whoa.
They're amazed, hopefully. And you come over here, give a little pregnant moment if you like, suspense, and then turn it over. And notice that I don't do this. I like to be aesthetically consistent. The same way I turn this one over. And they come together so that they can't see the thickness when I turn it over. So now I have that. Okay, from here, I am preparing to do a double. So I get, this is just one ace, and now I'm going to get another ace with a bubble break here. In my mind, the internal script that I'm giving is, I'm mixing these up, but not very much. I'm making it easy for them, right? Now let's do this again. And I put this back here so that I can throw this card down.
Face up now?
Yeah, face up, because I want to be so fair. But really, it's taking a lot of attention there. And then I throw out 2 cards here. So these are 2 aces now.
That looked great. We should talk about that.
Okay, so what you're doing...
Why are they staying together? Why is that working?
Okay, so this one is snapping down and shooting with your thumb, like this. So it's taking the air out, and then you push with your thumb. So you're just lifting in this way. But it's the air that keeps it, and the thumb that pushes it. So that's what the snap is for.
Sure. I should note, too, that I'm staring at a face-up ace now when I do this.
Yes, so when you do this, you bring your hand away like this. That way they don't see the face-up ace or face-up aces. And remember, this is taking a lot of attention. Where's their focus? On their card. So that's their card. All the focus is there, and look how fair this is. Now their expectation is that you're going to do this exactly the same way. And this routine is a different version than the other routine. So this one is done as a ploy, a playful ploy. I'm bringing a lot of heat. I'm going to give them nothing. I do that, and then it comes back, right? It comes back. So nothing happens. It's just a joke. If you're performing it, you could say, watch. It happened, and now went back, you know? And now look at the position you're in. Now you have these cards, and when the heat comes down, when they realize it's just a joke, you didn't really do it, then you turn this over, and you throw that 1 card down. And you're done. So you have the 2 aces here that they think is just 1 card. They think it's still the joker. And you have 1 ace here they think is their card, the 8 of hearts. You also have an ace on top of this 8 of hearts. All right, from here, you're going to go to the finish. So you get a break under 2 cards. So I can kind of casually show these 2 cards and get my break, like something's going to happen here. I grab this, and I'm going to do a hop. So as if I'm cutting the deck, right? Well, what I really did was keep those 2 cards on the top. So here we go. And the cards are still on top, once again. So what I'm doing is keeping a break right there. I throw this down.
The same as what happens with the Ascension.
Yes, the same thing. So this is a Harry Lorraine idea. So if you're interested, you can look him up. So all the attention goes here. And you can see the cover that you have.
Yeah, for sure.
And as you come back up, you square that on top. And there. They think you just cut to the middle, right?
What's the reason for that? Why are...
because it's more impossible if you, if you start showing the top card now, they might be able to trace their way back. So the more layers of deception that you can add, the more difficult it is for them to trace what happened.
So this is being added for the people that might, at this point, be suspicious of the deck.
Yeah, if I were to produce the card on top before I cut, then they might say, well, you already had it on top, so something must have happened.
I see.
So
it's a very good idea.
You can add as many layers of deception as you like, so long as it doesn't destroy the clarity of the effect. In fact, sometimes you can add more, and there's always a risk whenever you add more layered deception that you are adding possible noise or distractions, that can take away from the clarity. But in this case, it can actually add clarity to the effect. This is more impossible, finding their card in the middle of the deck, so that's what you're doing. You can even ask them to say stop if they like, and that way it's their choice, making it more impossible. Right now you are ready to produce their card. So you get a double and turn over 2 cards, showing their card just appeared on top when it should have been there. So this is a nice surprise. From here you can peel the card off this way. So you're just peeling it off while you're looking at the ace and the 8.
I see.
Yeah.
I think they call that necktying.
Yeah, necktying, yes, is exactly. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
And I just peel it off that way. Depending on the angles, you could work it out so that they don't see that. I usually work this way doing a show, so for me this is not a problem. And then I lay that down, and from here I can immediately go to this position, and I finish it off because they're surprised and they want to know what these cards are. And now I'm able to show 4 aces like this.
Which is a really nice surprise.
Yes.
I mean, it's just not... You don't know what to expect at this point. Because when you show me that card, of course I'm wondering what's down there. And then there's kind of the double surprise. If not only is it not there, but this isn't even 2 cards. There's actually 4 of them.
Yes, and it's important to remember this is I have multiple versions of this routine. This is probably the most accessible one for most people. So
yeah,
I think this will be one that they can have fun with.
Can you do the whole thing from the beginning and just explain what you're doing as you're doing it?
Yeah, kind of a review.
Yeah, I just want to see the whole thing in review.
All right,
I guess.
So 2 jokers, face to face, aces, face to face. Put these on the bottom, these go on top, and you're ready. And the order doesn't matter, which direction doesn't matter, none of that. Okay, so now you're ready. You ask the person to say stop. Right? This is your card. And by the way, don't forget 5 of clubs. And now I'm going to do another double deal. This is my card. This is another way to do it. I think I did it on the performance this way. What I'm doing is I'm actually turning the cards over like this, so they don't know it. But what I'm doing is I'm pressing down, so I remove the air and turn it over, and that makes it much easier for me to take the air out, lay the card down, there. From here, I do the magic moment while I'm getting my pinky count under 4 cards on top. I show the magic, that's the joker. Pregnant moment, can you believe it? There's your card. I show them like I'm showing more, but actually I'm hiding. Turn that over. I get bubble break here. And now we're going to do it again, but to be more fair, I place it face up. Look, all my attention is here, because I don't care about that. And of course, all their attention is going to be there too, because it's their card, and they're going to wonder how the heck you're going to make it go over there. Look how fair that is. And they're going, no way.
Yeah.
And it's back.
And now
all the tension is released.
Gone, yeah.
And at this moment, I can ask them if I want, say stop.
Stop.
Like that. And from here, I do another double. Now, sometimes I do this to take a look, and that's an easy way to get a double, because I can negotiate 1 card as I'm looking here.
Sure.
And now I have 2 cards. And I turn over my double to show them that. throw it down, and show the aces.
Such a nice surprise.
Yeah,
at
I
the
like
end.
it. Yes. So this was born out of an exercise I wanted to provide for my students to teach them about, composition. And so this is one variation, and the most accessible one, I think, with moves that people are familiar with, except for the double deal,
Yeah.
which is quite challenging, but if they get it down, I think it's quite useful.
Let's begin with this verbal overture. We are all connected in some ways, some more than others, but a few people have the good fortune to connect with one person, one very special person in ways beyond explanation. Maybe you too can relate to this. If so, then do you finish each other's sentences? Perhaps share the same thoughts? Do others find your togetherness unbearable and disgustingly syrupy? Like Care Bears in a South Park episode? Then you are both perfect for this experiment. Scientist Rupert Sheldrake posits that there is an interconnectedness between all things similar, and that the more similar, the more resonance, very much like musical instruments in tune with each other. Hence, a shared consciousness not bounded by time or space, but by similarity. I can see a couple of woodwinds are here, some strings there, a brass section, and even 2 percussionists. However, you may be a piccolo hooked up with a tuba because together you happen to make beautiful reggae music. It could happen. Hey, if you two click, then all the rules just don't matter. May the dance commence. Joe, don't say but think of a card, any card you desire. Have you got one? You alone know the card you are thinking of. Jane, please touch a card, any card you desire. Joe, what card are you thinking of? 2 of Hearts? So many choices. Why the 2 of Hearts? And Jane, you chose this one. Why? Could it be a morphic field between 2 minds resonating together? A synchronous event connecting 2 people simpatico? I don't see the 2 of Hearts in the deck, do you? Behold, 2 minds culminating into one singular crescendo of thought. The 2 of Hearts.
So morphic resonance
Yeah.
was something that came out of something I played around with for a while over the years, and that was changing a card with just my hand. And I remember playing around with it for thought of cards, and then came up with this idea of using a memorized deck. Yeah, it's difficult to do the muck. I think it's a challenging thing for most people, and also the muck that I use is slightly different than what you normally see, and I'll just do it. So I get into it like this, which is kind of like a Kelly replacement, but it puts it right into this position, which is kind of a gambler's cop. And now it's important to realize that the entire choreography in morphic resonance was designed to wrap this particular subterfuge to keep it hidden. So the whole thing was designed with this choreography.
And all of that matters.
All of that matters because everything is there to protect the subterfuge from, being back engineered. If I just go right into it like this, all the heat goes to my hand here. Yeah. So also another thing is that notice that I am not doing the traditional way of this move, which is basically looking at the card and then pushing it forward. I'm not even looking at the card. So that is something a little different. But I wanted to do that because I wanted it to be adapted to using it for magic, not just for gambling. Now, a lot of people think that this is not useful in magic. So that was the challenge, and I found that it can be very useful. I mean, I think this particular routine is a great example of how useful it can be because you can do a think of a card effect.
I saw you do it at a coffee shop.
Yes.
And it works.
Yes.
I mean, to me, that's the beauty of this. Is here's this move that everybody associates with hardcore gambling
Yes.
demonstrations, that kind of thing.
I don't want to demo this.
Well, but I've never seen, besides you, I've never seen anyone actually use it for a routine that will fool people.
Oh, yeah.
It's always...
Well, it is challenging.
Yeah, but it's always a display of skill.
Yeah. No, I don't want to display this guy. I don't even want him to know that I have it when I'm doing this.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
So how do I do it? This is I've been trying. You showed me before, and
Okay.
I still have problems.
Let me do it face up so you can see what's happening,
Yeah,
sort
please.
of. So I've got a queen and a 5. And I'm going to come, notice how I come in at an angle because I'm scooping up with the corner. Mhm. And when it comes in, it's going to coalesce with the card. So now I have it squared, right?
I see it.
Yes. And then I come over here like this. I outstretch my fingers and hand so it's like this. And you can see it's all squared up. Oh, and it's like a thumb count. I peel off one card while I keep and carry the card just above. And when I come back in closed position, more relaxed. I'll do this again. Now you could use the other hand too. With this simultaneous action, you're splitting the attention. By splitting the attention, it forces them to split their focus, and so it takes more heat. It takes some heat away from the hand. If you just do it all with one hand, all the attention is on that one hand. So that's what all the choreography is for. If I'm doing this like in the routine, I have my box over here and I have my hands like this, and then I begin the choreography this way so that I'm ready to talk to them. This is sort of like I'm going to talk to them about something, but really there's a slight a potential tell here, and that's opening up here and sneaking the card in. Now I could probably aim to cover that tell, but if I can use some help to cover it, it's even better, because then I remove that risk just in case. Mm-hmm. And that's what this is for. So what I'm doing is I'm gathering attention here, like just a moment while I get the box. Mm-hmm. All the attention goes here. Less attention is on the hand. I put the box over.
And it's more of the same story of hiding the subterfuge in the middle of the action.
Yes,
So
yes, exactly.
The action that I should remember as a spectator is a card went down, you talk to me, and you put a box on top of it.
Yep.
And the subterfuge is somewhere in there, and I shouldn't notice, hopefully.
Right. So here's the 2 of spades. And then I just look for their card, right? I look for their card, and then I point here. I'm talking to them, and this seems part of the expression of what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And then I look at them while all this is happening. So they don't know that I'm planning all this. The choreography is all planned. And then I say, just a moment. And I'm going to look over there. Now, notice that I'm going to move my hand before this arm moves. So I go like this. And so this arm is hiding all of this movement before it leaves.
From my angle, I actually can't see
Right.
the card.
And even if they were looking, this adds more information to take away the heat. So there's too much information for them to gather. And so they cannot scrutinize the card. So I'm doing this. I gather the box. All my focus, my body language is saying, look at the box. Put this down on top. So there's purpose to this, right? As far as they're concerned, I'm just putting a box over the card.
So that you can't change it.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Yes. And then I reach over here to turn the cards over and spread to show. That's the entire purpose. Mm-hmm. The entire choreography is set up just so I can do that switch with little scrutiny, if any at all.
So we talked about the choreography, but I want to talk about actually stealing that card, because it still perplexes me, the exact position. You know, sometimes I've tried it where it's lower in the hand. I try it where it's higher in the hand. I mean,
Everybody's different.
I think it's about the steel. Like, how do I actually steal the card?
Okay, I'm
out?
holding it with 2 fingers, the thumb and the first finger like this, close to the edge. This is the way I grip it, and you're gonna have to find your own comfort zone for this, because every hand is different. So this is an approximation what you might do. And then with these fingers here, I'm able to wrap these around, but I'm also going to use my little finger on this side. So this little finger is also stealing the card as well. They're all working in tandem together. And what happens is it does that, and then you kind of lift this deck up, almost like you're going to look at it, but keep that card there, right? So what's happening is you have these fingers holding onto that card.
Something like this.
Exactly. That is exactly it, yes. And of course, you're going to have to practice this to be able to peel that card off. You don't want to peel off too many, otherwise that happens.
Yeah, I've done that actually.
Yeah, so there is a knack to this where you're able to get to the edge and only peel off one.
Yeah, that pinky is really important.
Yes,
I find
extremely
that
important.
When you showed me this before and I tried to learn it, if I put my pinky here,
it doesn't work
on the short end of the deck.
Well, it works, but not very well.
It doesn't. It just doesn't work really.
Also, if you put it here, then where are you going? What are you going to have to do to put it?
That was my problem.
Yeah.
So you really want that pinky on the long edge.
You do.
You know, no matter how you're
then it's already in
negotiating
place too. Yes.
I'm here. Ooh, this comes out.
Yep.
And now I grab.
This can be pretty obvious.
Yeah.
To people, they can catch it. So you're going to have to hide that. So when you're doing this, at least when I first started doing this, I would ask friends, "What do you see?" And come around me, and there was a lot to see. So I had to learn how to choreograph this. They wouldn't see anything. So I reach out with my hand like this and look at the cover that I have.
Yeah, I can't see anything.
And I begin. Now, I don't just begin this way because they can still see. If I just do it like this, look, you can see that people on that side will be able to catch that. So I angle it just a little bit like this, and now people on this side can't see. So it's angled maybe about 20 degrees going up. And I have my hand here for cover. But what they're going to read is that I'm ready to catch the cards. That's all, as far as they're concerned. And now what I have is this. They can't see anything. Everything's covered from the top, everything's covered from the side, everything's covered from this side, and I can see everything from my angle. I'm looking at that. Okay. From here, I'm going to reach over with this thumb and grab it. And now this thumb is going to do something odd. It's going to wrap around and get into this position. It wraps around and gets into that position so that when you peel the deck off, look what you have. You have this. And it's going to feel odd at first because most people just do this and leave the thumb alone. It's a small discrepancy, but it is worth doing.
So at this point, with the card in my hand, the corner of the card is kind of in the crotch of my pinky and ring finger, and just sort of holding on to it there. My thumb is pressing on the card this way. So this is I suppose, this has a name, like a gambler's flat palm.
Yes,
that's what it is.
Well, I've heard it as gambler's cop. I've heard it at different ways.
Sure, call it whatever you want.
Yes.
It's gripped like this.
Yes. You want to be careful that you don't have this showing. Right? So make sure it's covered. You know what's nice is that if you have small hands, and I've met people who cannot do this palm because their hands are so small.
Just a magician's palm.
But this one works. So this can be used in place of the other kind of palm.
It's good to know. All right.
All right, so we're here.
Yeah, there's a card down, right? And I've stolen.
You've stolen the
can,
card.
Here we go. Yep.
Like
and I've
this.
stolen the card.
Yes, and now this is part of the choreography. So let me take you to the choreography.
Mm-hmm.
So you point here. This gives reason to put this in position to prepare, right? Because if you just do this and then just go like this,
Yeah, all my focus
it
is
feels
right there.
like I'm doing something. So I'm taking the deck so that I can point to this card. And so it's part of the script, and I say, what is this card? Or whatever you want to say at that moment. And then I move, so it must be this card, blah, blah, blah. And then you take the deck in your hand like this to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And now you talk to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
As if you want to say something important. And wait a moment. And now I do the subterfuge of the muck. All my attention is on the box. And from here, I'm going to I'm going to replace the card on top while I'm turning the deck over. So that's my reason. Then spread.
And there's nothing really to that. That's just kind of, you just reach over and turn it over.
Yeah, there's nothing difficult to say about that. I'm basically putting the card on top. But the reason that they should believe, is that you're turning the deck over to show them the deck.
Mm-hmm. So I just want to talk a little bit about the actual action of getting this in.
Okay.
This is quite challenging, I think, just to get. Well, let me turn it face down so I'm here in this position. I have the card in this palm.
Yes.
Now, do I then let go with my thumb while it's on the table and let it relax, or
so what I
do?
usually do is, at the moment I'm going to reach for it, that I do this and I release. Now it's on the table. So I'm just holding on with these fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sliding with the corner pointing towards that side so that it acts like a shovel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm opening my hand up. Now, this is exaggerated so you can see.
Sure.
It's not that open. And now I use momentum. It's hard to do this slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Doing it slow only pushes the card in weird ways that you don't want. But doing it fast, you can get enough momentum that it can slide and coalesce together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you're aiming for. You're aiming to coalesce these cards together. Now, you won't be able to do that completely with just moving your hand, so you're going to have to use your fingers to negotiate it. So I insert the card, I move forward, and then I aim to coalesce these towards the corners of my finger. And with this thumb, I square again. See how it's almost like I'm doing this.
Just with one hand.
But with one hand. So
and really quickly.
You use all the opportunity of any fingers to do that. Now, when I get it underneath, this is all beveled in strange ways, so you really need the momentum to get it there. Now, this is the closest I can get. When usually that's pretty good, believe it or not. And from here, I have it.
I'm actually getting it.
Oh, good.
You're talking. Good. I'm sitting here going, oh, wow.
Let me see.
Oh, no. Now I'm scared. Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And so when you practice this, don't try to hit it perfectly the first time. Just try to understand it.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not acting, by the way. For the people I know there's going to be people who are going to be like, oh, that guy's just acting. I'm not acting. That I really didn't
First of all,
that.
me and Christopher hang out a lot, so that's the truth.
Yes.
And I have seen him work on this, and he kept telling me, this is hard.
Yeah.
So this is pretty good that you're
was
doing
the
this
first
now.
time
Yes.
I've ever done it. No joke. But now it'll never happen again. No. Okay, so this. Wow.
Yep. And then you coalesce.
Yeah.
If you got them square, then you're on the right path, because that's what you want. You want them squared together. They're coalesced together. And if you have them both like this, now it becomes easier to peel off one card, come back.
That hand position really matters.
Yes.
It really, really matters. I mean, if this was even a tiny bit further down in my hand, I couldn't do it.
It's different for everybody because I
Yeah.
want you to show the camera that your position
Yeah.
is different from mine. It's
Right.
just slightly different.
Right. Well, but what we have in common, though, with both of our positions is the distance of the edge of the card to your fingertips.
Oh,
So if you
Yeah.
look, with mine, the fingertips are
yeah.
very close, and your fingertips are very close. And,
Yes.
and that's what I noticed just now. And I think that matters a lot.
yes.
I mean, this feels really easy now, actually.
Yeah.
Well, not really easy, sorry. It feels easier than it did. This is not my first time trying this, but this feels easier.
I want to show you that it can be done on a flat surface. So here's the Jack of Clubs, and you can see that I've just changed it to the King of Clubs. Now, let me get
Oh,
a better
wow.
card because that's not very good. Jack of Clubs. There's the Jack of Clubs.
Wow.
So this can be done on...
Without a mat. I think later we should get a glass table
yes.
and let people see
We should,
it from
yeah. How about that?
underneath. Yeah, let's
Okay.
do that. That'll be fun.
By the way, we're talking to our cameramen who are very quiet right now.
And they're awesome. And
Yes.
they exist.
Yes, they do. Okay, so...
So yeah, take me through. I
Now,
think
now
I
that we have some of the
understand-
moves, let's...
Yeah, I think I understand the moves. There's really only one, honestly.
Yeah, the main one, yes.
Yeah, and then so take me through the whole routine.
Okay. So the box should be sitting over here because that's part of the choreography.
To your
So-
left-hand side.
Yes, to my left-hand side. That's on purpose. Okay, all right, so when the routine starts, you want to do some false shuffles to make it look like it's just a regular deck, but really we're going to be doing a memorized deck.
So the deck is current. It isn't for this.
It
for
isn't
the
for
purpose
this,
of
yeah.
us filming right now. But
Explanation,
if you're
yeah.
performing,
Use
this
the memorized
would
deck,
be
yeah.
in-
Whichever memorized deck of your choice that you like, you use it, whatever you're familiar with. So
Sure.
then you go through a few false shuffles, whatever they may be, and that's just so that they can trace back the idea that this is a memorized deck, or order deck of any kind, and you do this while you're talking to them, you know.
Mhm.
And with a memorized deck, you can even expose the faces because it doesn't matter, right?
Mhm.
Then I ask somebody to think of a card, any card.
Okay, I have one.
Yeah, okay. And then I ask another person to please just touch a card. Yeah.
Here, how about this one?
So they touch a card. I make sure that the card is close to me and easy for the move. At this point, I ask the person, well, what were you thinking of?
6 of hearts.
So then I approximate my memorized deck, right? And I just approximate just above, and maybe it's 3 cards down to end up in the bottom. And then I just casually do that pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm basically pulling out the bottom half and putting it on top. They don't know. They just think I'm looking like this casually.
Mm-hmm.
And go,
But you've actually secretly cut the deck.
and what was it that you were picking?
I said 6 of hearts. It
6 of
doesn't
hearts.
matter, but-
Well, let's
but-
say it's
Sure.
Well, that was a close cut too.
That was good. That was
All
good.
right, so there's the 6 of hearts on the bottom. As far as they're concerned, I just casually show them 6 of hearts. Why the 6 of hearts? You know, that's all I'm doing to them.
Mm-hmm.
Why the 6 of hearts? That's all they see.
Mm-hmm.
And you, why did you pick this one? You know, I ask her.
Sure.
Why did you pick this one when you could have picked so many? Right? It's all part of the script. And then I talk to them. Could it be a morphic field between two minds resonating? Blah, 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 blah. Right?
Mhm.
Just a moment. And then I do the move.
Mm-hmm.
Show the box. Well, I don't see your card in here.
And now, if I felt it, I feel the urge to look for it, and it's
Right.
not. Yeah.
And now the crescendo of two minds, blah, blah, blah. And they turn it over in 6 of hearts.
It's a powerful routine, man.
I think so. And
Yeah.
what I like about this is that in order to get to do all this, the procedure is not felt. It's very little procedure being felt. there's only two specific moves that you have to be concerned with. You're already preset, so the fact that you have a memorized deck has given you, a weapon that presets you being able to get to that card so quickly, and then with this particular pass, it's really accessible, and it's not a difficult pass. You're just basically moving that. You have a break, and you're moving the bottom half to the top, but it just looks like you're just showing the cards.
You've conditioned it too.
Yes.
So you
do
get
it
your
once.
break, and you do it some random place.
Yes.
And then now the second time.
Yeah, and by this time you're looking at them and going, why that card over all the other cards?
Yeah, it looks like nothing pretty much.
And why did you pick this one? And see, I have my reason to move this here. Why'd you pick this one? Over all the cards you could have selected. Could it be blah, 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 blah? Wait, just a moment. Do you see your card in here? So everything's choreographed accordingly to...
and it makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they turn over the card, you got a miracle.
We know the past, but cannot change it. We change the future, but cannot know it. So just be now. Not before, not later, but now. Say stop. This is your future. Do you wish to change it? Say stop. This is your past. Mark this moment. Remember, but do not dwell, or you rob the present. However, ignore it and you rob the future. Don't linger, don't try, just be. Then past and future simply fade away, just as your card does. Until time stops and we are left with one moment, the point at which time touches eternity. Now.
So
Yes.
we just talked about morphic resonance.
Yes.
And it's a great routine if you have two people and you sort of want to get a little bit heavy
Yes.
with them script-wise. But I want to talk about Art of Now.
Yes, the art of now. So this one is nice. You can do it with one person, and the script is about the past, the present, and the future, basically. And so I use pretty much the same choreography to hide the subterfuges. So this will be good because if you learn one, you learn the other. All right, so let's get started. I ask somebody to say stop.
Stop.
Right. This will represent your future. And I put this to the side in readiness for my muck. And it could be any card. This is not a prepared deck, unlike the other one, so it's much easier. And then I ask somebody to just tell me when to stop, and I show them all the cards. They say stop at
Stop.
any. If they want to go on, they can, but they're truly picking any card that they like. So they see this card, right? And I ask them to mark the spot. This is so that they become familiar and they remember it. So it's personalized.
So they can sign it if they want.
They can sign it if they want. Now, I've done this without signing it. It works. But somehow when they sign it, they can remember it much better. Okay, so now it's really their signature. And this is important. I act like I'm going to close it. And this is an affirmation. And then I come back here and point. Now what this does is puts me in the position that I need without bringing heat to me putting it in the position that I need, which is this. All they think I'm doing is reminding them, remember, this is the future, right? It also puts all the heat there while I'm doing the move. And
It's like you apparently changed your mind. You said, here, look at your card. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
don't forget about
Yes,
that.
and so you have to act.
Right.
You've signed your card. Oh, don't forget this is the future. And I've got it, right?
Yeah.
There. So now I'm prepared. And look, the choreography is the same. And and the pen should still be there. Okay, so then I come over here like this, and I'm looking at them talking while the script is filling it in for me. And now instead of reaching over here like the other routine, I'm reaching for the pen, and I move the card over there like that. And then I show them the deck. I tell them when the past and the future come together. All that remains is the present. Your card is no longer here. There can only be one. And it's their sign card. And that's it.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good routine to build up to doing morphic resonance.
Oh, yeah.
This is a lot simpler, I think.
Yes,
you don't need a memorized deck. You don't need a stack. You don't need two people. You
Yeah.
can kind of experiment with this.
And the scripting is pretty easy. I mean, you could reduce it to just past, present, and future. You don't
Sure.
have to memorize the whole script. You could
Yeah.
just say, this is the future, this represents the future, this represents the past. And then you're practically done. The next thing you have to remember is the present.
Mm-hmm.
So then from here, they say stop at any point. They remember that card. Please mark the past so you'll remember it.
Sure. And then they'd sign it.
They sign it, and I purposely forget this, and I leave it there. And I go, don't forget the future. Then I reach for the pen. I move this over,
Mm-hmm.
and I unload that card, and in order to show them the deck, and I say, when the past and the future come together, there can only be one, the present, and it's their sign card.
That's great.
And that's
man.
it. Yeah. And all the moves for the muck were already explained. So
Mhm. Yeah, same choreography.
yeah, same
I
choreography.
think this is
pretty
a good
much.
place to start.
Yes, it is.
Imagine you reach a fork in the road, and while all logic points towards one direction, your gut tells you to go the other way. Afterwards, your decision is proven to be the correct one, and it may have even saved your life. Do you know this feeling? It's called claircognizance, or clear knowing. You may think claircognizance is clear nonsense, but I can show you what it looks like. Please say stop and remember your card. What if I had an advantage? Like looking at this card tells me you selected the Four of Hearts. Again, say stop and remember. Ace of Clubs. Third time around, so you know it's not just luck, say stop and remember. All random, chosen by you, and lost in the deck. Yet a simple glance, and I know you have a strange predilection for polka-dotted underwear and hippos, and that you chose the Seven of Clubs. I must confess, I was actually looking at your cards. The very same three from the deck. Last time, but slightly different. Because you need not look at a card. To be fair, I have one which will remain in my pocket before we do this. Ready? Except for the previous cards, think of any other and call it the Ten of Diamonds. What if your thought of card is not in the deck, but in my pocket? And what if the other three returned as well? Then that would make 1, 2, 3. Plus one more makes 4 cards in my pocket. All gone from the deck, all from my pocket. The Four of Hearts, Ace of Clubs, and Seven of Clubs. But most importantly, your thought of card, the Ten of Diamonds.
Yeah, knowing card. So I think the people at home might be interested to know, that this is a routine that was specifically designed for them.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I wanted some cards to pocket that was more accessible than all the hardcore stuff that exists. This one, I think, is much... it's kind of a way to get started with a cards to pocket routine, I think.
Because we're going to talk about a cards to pocket
Yes.
routine later, which is
a little bit more difficult.
a little bit more difficult than this one.
So this is a nice way to intro yourself into it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the routine.
All right, so first you start out with a card in the pocket, here like this.
Sure.
And actually, if you want to set up in front of them, that's all right. They become curious, and that's okay, because this doesn't hinder the secret at all. In fact, it's going to make it even more mysterious that you've already put a card in the pocket and they don't know what the heck it is.
Is that your preference? Do you prefer to put the card in your pocket and to begin with in front of the spectator, or do you prefer to just have it there?
I prefer to just have it there, but there are methods that you can use, like reaching in here to look at something, and then you can sneak it in there. But if you find that a bit difficult, then just put the card in there. It doesn't hinder the routine at all.
Okay, so I got a card in my pocket.
Yeah.
And then what do I do next?
From here, you have just a shuffle deck that you begin with, and you tell them, say stop, right? You show them the card. And now, like the Kelly replacement, I put the card to the bottom. Now, what I'm actually doing is doing the same move that we talked about.
For the muck.
For the muck, yes. And I'm opening this up just slightly so that I can put this card to the bottom. And while I'm holding the deck like this with one finger and the thumb on top, I'm able to slide this over that finger like this.
I see. So you're putting with your holding the deck, your fingernail is putting the pressure
Pretty much, yeah.
on the bottom
so it's
that
able
the card is easy to...
It's able to receive it.
slide,
So it just slides right in like this.
I see.
Okay, so now I slide it in so that it comes to the front, right? And now I'm able to coalesce everything and keep it taut like this, so it just looks like I just put... should look like I just put the deck on top. But I show a card, and I put the card on the bottom while the top half goes on top. And that's it. So this is the same move we're going to use for all of them. I kept it pretty simple. You could vary it with other moves, but this is the one that I'm going to teach because it's the most accessible. All right, so they say stop. I show the card, they remember, right? And I look at them while this is happening because I don't want them thinking that I'm catching a glimpse here. So I just look at them while this is happening. And now when it's squared and I'm talking to them, I turn the cards over like that as if to square it some more. But really, I'm getting a glimpse of the bottom card, their card, right?
I believe the kids call that an all-around square-up glimpse
These
good. Days.
All-around square-up glimpse. And I reach into my pocket, and I go, I just look at this card, and I know that your card is the Jack of Diamonds. Let's do it again. They say stop. They remember the card. And once again, while I'm talking to them, I sneak it to the bottom. Now, instead of doing the same exact glimpse, I like changing it up when I can. All the moves, actually. Keep them similar, but not exactly the same, because otherwise they can follow me easier. So this one is going to be slightly different. I'm going to move the deck forward and bend the card like this.
Oh, whoa.
And so I'm catching a glimpse right there. See, I know it's a 6 of diamonds. So I move the deck forward, and then I move my hand forward, square that up. I put the deck down. If there was any possibility that they think I glimpsed it in the first part, this closes that door, so that's nice. I reach into my pocket. I look at the card, and I name this one, of course, the 6 of diamonds. I never name this one.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yes, and I say 6 of diamonds. Now, you may not notice right now, but it'll become apparent later that I'm actually conditioning them for what's going to happen next. So I pulled the card out, and I put it in my left hand.
And you're kind of putting it into a position that's very similar to a cop.
A cop, yeah. Now, this is on purpose, because I want to take the heat off of it before I do it. So I want them to become familiar with this before I do it with the subterfuge. And if you introduce a move that might appear odd with the subterfuge, then one way to diffuse that is to show them the move without the subterfuge, so they become familiar with it, and then it's no longer odd. It becomes a bit dull, actually.
It's just like what we talked about with the double deal.
Yes.
You reach over. I mean, you're reaching over, and nobody turns over a card like that.
No, but they become familiar enough that it becomes
right.
less odd.
So then, when you actually do the move, there's
no heat.
There's no heat on
because
it.
they believe it's just what you just did.
And that
before.
same thing is happening here. So the card comes out of the pocket. You say it's the second card, which you glimpsed from that bending.
Right.
I don't know what you call that, but
yes,
just bend the card and look at it.
Yes.
And then you put it in kind of a cop position.
Cop position, and I tell them what it is, and then I show my hands empty, and now they're introduced to that. They're familiar with that move, and I put it back in my pocket. Let's do it a third time, so you know that this is not just by chance. Right? So then they say stop again. They remember that card. Once again, I put it on the bottom. This time it's going to be seen a different way, glimpsed a different way. So I show you, remember you could have selected any of these cards, right? And now as before, I'm going to cop this. So I move the deck forward. I put my finger there.
And I should mention too, when you spread out the cards to show,
oh yes,
you have a perfect opportunity to get
a break. That's the whole purpose
three.
of spreading out the yeah. So in the midst of me presenting the shuffled deck, in however way you want to explain it, they could have picked any card. Really, what you're doing is you're giving a reason for you to hide the real purpose, which is to get 3 cards into a break position. So I've got my break, and I want to put it in cop position. So I'm not going to go back here and put it in there. That's too suspicious. So instead, I move the deck forward. So it's like this. I have my first finger there. I'm not going to push it back. Instead, I'm going to move my hand forward while keeping my finger there to keep the cards in place. So I move my hand forward until I can grip it in cop position. Right? So everything moves forward instead of back, so they can't tell that I'm pushing the cards back.
It's like when you're sitting on a bus and another bus is next to you, and the other bus starts moving, and for a split second you're not sure if you're moving or if they're moving.
Right. So it's an illusion. While you're moving forward, they don't realize something's moving back. Yeah. When actually you're keeping the cards to lay on your cop position in your hand without them knowing it. So this moves forward, and now you have these cards in cop position. By the way, you have your hand here covering, so they can't see this.
Right, just like before.
Yes, just like before. Okay, so from here, what you don't want to do is you don't want to do this and then move the hand back. Don't do that. So stay here, move the hand forward, don't move this. So this should already be here. Move the deck forward and leave the hand there. That brings less attention to the hand that is absolutely still and dull. And this one, it has movement, which brings more attention. So all the attention goes here, not here. I see a lot of people doing this. And that pulls all the attention away from the deck to here, and it looks suspicious, like they're running. You don't want that. So instead, you leave it like that.
Don't run when you're not being chased.
Right, and if you have a table, it's really quite nice. You can hide it.
You spread your fingers a little bit or something.
If you don't have a table, then you can hold it like this. But I usually like working with a table, so I hold it this way. Now from here, all the attention goes into the pocket. And remember, you haven't seen the card yet. And then I got it in the script, so I look and I say something funny, and then I look again.
And now I
got it.
Glimpse.
Ace of Hearts, yes. You can change it up because all I have to do is look at the card, and I know what it is. Ace of Hearts, right? And I put it back in with all the cards. I got all 4 cards now in there.
The X cards and the 3 selections.
Yes. And the ending is going to be a cleanup, as well as a nice phase that you can end with, which is the finale, and I think quite strong, because this time it's going to be think of a card. Not yet, right?
Not yet.
Not yet, almost. So I tell them, well, there's something I haven't told you. I actually have all your cards. I've been looking at all of your cards. And I pull out all their cards, all 3 cards out, and show them they are not in the deck.
And this is pretty astonishing at this point.
Oh, it is.
Because the mythology of what this trick is that you have a card in your pocket that is magically telling you the identity of 3 cards. And then if I walk down that path with you, when you finally get to this ending where it turns out, well, actually I'm lying, I have all 3 of them in my pocket, and then I see that they're not here.
Yes.
This is a pretty strong moment, I think.
Yeah, because the first time you've got them to think, yes, exactly what you said, but it's 2 effects. The first effect is that you're actually reading the card, it's telling you what their card is. The second effect is them realizing that, they magically appeared in your pocket. But wait a minute, I saw the card there before he read it. Wait, there's so much going on. But it's all magic. So you exchange one surprise for another surprise, but it's still all magic. And now you're going to get them with another one last one. So you place these cards back in while you're saying, well, shall we do it again? And what I'm doing is I'm preparing the cards to go to the top again. So I've actually pushed them out here once again. All right?
So you have the 3 selections, different places in the deck.
Yeah. And while I'm casually talking, they think that trick is over.
And this is also just like before, where you're doing sort of halfway to a diagonal palm shift.
Not even halfway, just barely.
Just barely.
Yes.
Which then leaves everything sticking out the back. Yep.
I won't explain the diagonal palm shift because you can get that from many books.
It's all over the place.
Yes. Okay, so you just pull it out part way like this, right? Now, what I like to do is bevel this in the front so that I can hide these cards sticking out, and I move my hand here. So what you have is this.
Yep, I got it.
That way, look at that. There's nothing to see. Yep. But I've got a grip on those 3 cards right there on the bottom. Okay, from here, I'm just going to cut just above all of that. So I still have the grip on the 3 cards, and they're inserted into the packet below where I'm cutting.
So your right hand
just picks up a small packet, very small packet, leaving the packet that has the 3 cards.
I see.
In my right hand.
So my right hand is holding on to the deck, which has the 3 cards protruding.
Yes.
My left hand cuts off.
Well, no, my left hand just cuts, but my right hand moves away.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, and then goes on top. And now I grip so that I can remove the 3 cards. Out to the right, and then on top. And so now I have all 3 cards on top. So I'll do it again.
Yeah, show me the whole thing in sequence.
So they all go in, diagonal palm shift only part way, like this. With a bevel so that I can re-grip it, and now they don't see anything. But that's what's there. Okay, from here, I cut just above that whole packet that contains the 3 cards. I put that on top, and now I have these 3 cards to pull out. And I just pull out those 3 cards, and now that everything's back on top. In fast motion, not fast, I mean in performance mode, there.
Just looks like you cut twice.
Yeah, and this is done casually while you're talking to them, and they think the whole effect is over. This is a good place because there's no scrutiny at that time, since they don't think they should be looking at anything.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've just had the surprise of, oh, holy cow,
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
3 cards
boom.
were actually in the pocket. Yeah.
Wow, that was great. It's over. Wait, I got one more thing that I'd like to show you. Would you like to see it?
I would.
Boom.
And now
Done.
by the time I'm even ready to think about it,
Yeah.
you're ready.
Yeah, and remember, I still have that X card in my pocket. I get a break under 3 cards, which is their cards.
And you just use a pinky count.
Pinky count, yeah. And I don't tell them exactly what's going to happen yet because I need to set up. So what I do is I kind of tease them and say, We're going to do it one more time. How about that? But this time, I don't want you to look at a card. And to be fair, I also have a card in my pocket as before, which is going to sit right here, just as before. There, the dirty work is done, and I actually have all 4 cards now.
Okay. So I reach in, take out this X card.
You
which
reach
is
in.
Still in there.
Yeah, take out the X card. As a ploy, you put it down as if to assure them that it's going to remain here. But really, the reason is so that you can put it on top of the deck so that you can grab all the cards that are under the break, right? And you do this. And it's going to sit here during while we do this the entire time. Now I move my thumb here. As I move to the left, I slide this over, then I move the deck away, grab my lapel, and put all 4 in as one, as if it is still just one card. And it's nice because you have a choreography that explains all the movement. So you say, and to be fair, I still have one in my pocket, which is going to remain there the entire time.
And I notice when you take out the card, you're holding it in a very similar way to how the group is going to go
Yes.
back in. I mean, you could just as easily have gone like this,
Yes,
but
yes,
you
yes.
don't.
Right. So I take it out like this, and I have a card in my pocket, which is going to remain here during the entire time. And so this is nice because it's a show of a single card, and it's only momentarily grouped together instead of doing this and then going like that. This way, there's less of a tell that
Something happened.
yes. So this is happening during the movement.
Okay, so now you have
I have the 4 cards. I have their 3 cards that they previously selected, and I have still the X card.
And the 3 cards you selected are now closest to your body.
Yes.
And farthest away is the X card.
X card. Yeah,
Okay.
the X card
got it.
is that one right here. And below that is the 3 cards they selected.
Okay.
All right. So from here I say, I would like you to just, this time, like I said, don't look at a card. I want you to think of one. And call one out. And then they call one out. Go ahead, call one out.
One of the 3 that we had.
No. And then in the script I say, I would like you to call out any card, excepting the 3 previously selected cards.
Ace of Spades.
Ace of Spades.
Sure, why not?
Ace of Spades. Would you believe that the Ace of Spades is not in the deck, but inside my pocket?
No, prove it.
Also, the other 3 previously selected cards have returned to my pocket as well. And I reach in with an empty hand, so this is nice. I pull out the X card first, while I'm getting a break under this one. So
I see.
I just called the Ace of Spades to the top during that entire time. So the Ace of Spades is here. I look for the Ace of Spades while I'm talking. I keep them busy. Would you believe it's not in the deck?
And this is the same technique that you use in the taco routine.
Yes, exactly. Exactly the same. Yes.
So you perform the call just like in the taco routine.
Yeah. And as you get to their card, their selection, you come down as the call happens. Yeah.
And it just goes right on top.
Goes right on top.
This is a nice moment.
I think
of being
so,
able to
yes.
reach with an empty hand. That's pretty good.
Yes, and since you're saying that would you believe the ace is not in the deck anymore, but in my pocket, and then you also add that as well as the 3 previously selected cards have returned back to my pocket. You could even break it up so you break the moment up psychologically and say, before you look, you could say, would you believe the Ace of Spades is no longer in the deck? You haven't even called yet. Not only that, the other 3 cards are no longer in here either. So that way, they don't realize the focus is on the Ace of Spades. So you can break it up that way too. They both work though.
Okay.
All right. So now you have the Ace of Spades on top. So what's going to happen? How are you going to get the Ace of Spades to the pocket? You're not. You don't need to. So now you reach in with an empty hand. And while you're reaching in with an empty hand, you get a break under the Ace of Spades or whatever card that they named. And I pull out the X card first. That's the card that's going to be switched with the Ace of Spades. I put it there with the break. And I'm telling them, so this is 1, 2, 3, right? And that groups these 3 in their mind as if it's the 3 previously selected cards. So now all the heat goes on the last card, which doesn't need to be switched, by the way. So I show them that makes 3, and now I do a drop switch, and that switches one indifferent card, the X card, and I reach in for this one, plus 1 makes 4. And of course, you're playing ambiguous with them, because now they're assuming that this is the card that they should scrutinize.
Yeah, it's so strange. I really like it. There's a 1, 2, and 3, and there's so many lies all at once.
Right, and they're coming to those conclusions on their own. You haven't lied at all. So now good. You have you say, and last but not least, the 4th card. And none of them are in the deck. They're all gone. And they get to look. And you've already done the switch. The X card is gone. And so from here, you can show them all 3 cards that were previously selected. But the most important card, your thought of card, the Ace of Spades. Boom.
And you're clean.
And you're clean. Yes. And what's nice is that you don't really have any palm cards going in and out of the pocket.
Mm-hmm. You have a tendency to construct stuff like that, where the preparation for one phase, the ending of another phase, rather than being, a problem to solve, is actually set up for another phase.
Yeah, well, the last phase came to me because there was an X card still left in my pocket, and I was wondering, as usual, if I have a problem with a leftover, I wonder what I can do with it. Do I clean it up, or do I create another phase? And very often a phase will come about from it that is actually quite beautiful to deal with the last card or something, the last leftover.
Yeah, kind of like with Chrysalis too.
Like Chrysalis too, yes. So that was a phase developed that explained the leftover and turned it into something more beautiful than just having to clean it up.
And then later on, we'll talk about the collectors, which is kind of that concept to the extreme.
Well, that was a first phase and a third phase added in order to deal with the preparation and the cleanup.
Well, this is a great pocket routine, man. Knowing card.
Yeah, and I think it's accessible because it uses some moves that are not often used. A lot of people don't use this move very often, and I think this is a good way to practice with it because it's a very useful move for this particular routine. Now, as I said before, you don't have to use this move for all 3. If you have similar moves, not too different, similar, important, because if they're too different, it'll bring attention, and they will wonder why they are so different. But if they are similar enough, then you can throw them in, and that'll keep them off track much better. But I'm keeping it simple for everybody to make it accessible. And this is a very strong move, I think.
History is filled with stories about miracles, wonder, and strange phenomenon. It is rare, but witnesses experiencing at least one effect performed by some historical figure has been recorded. Therefore, not to be outdone, and because I am feeling quite ambitious today, I will not just do one effect. No. Not like those other guys. Instead, I will simultaneously perform 2. Yes, that's right, 2 at a time. For this, I will need 2 cards selected. Joseph, please say stop. Mary, say stop. Joseph, remember. Mary, remember. Both cards are lost and unknown to me. Let's start with Joseph. Your card has vanished. Thank you very much. Only to reappear inside my pocket with a simple yes or no. Is this your card? No. What? Really? I am so embarrassed. Be assured that this will never happen again. Not with this damn card, and don't judge. This is anger management. Time for redemption. Mary, your card is now in my pocket. The Queen of Clubs. No? Wait, I tore up the Ten of Hearts. This is the Ten of Hearts? I can fix this. Everything restored and in its rightful place. One to keep and one to ponder.
Recapitulation. It's a very unusual trick for a number of reasons, I would say.
Yes, it solves a problem in an unusual way.
It's somewhere between a transposition and a torn and restored. It's something like that.
Yes, and the transposition solves the problem of them back engineering the torn and restored. Yeah,
Because otherwise you'd have to have a duplicate card.
right.
And in this case, you don't. I mean,
Yeah.
people might think that, but there's no duplicate. There's no.
No,
I
I'm
mean, this
messing
is
with
a
their
borrowed
memories.
deck.
I'm giving them two memories that intersect and make it very difficult for them to back engineer. Yep.
And that's the real secret.
That is the real secret. Yes. It could be a bit confusing when you're learning it because you have to remember which is which, but with practice. It uses a move that comes from Ben Harris called Hoodwinked. So in case you're familiar with that or you would like to
Want to check it out?
check it out.
It's pretty different from
I
what
would
you're
say
doing.
check it out, yes. Okay, when I do this, I actually get, and this is a regular deck by the way, I don't use any extra cards, and I already put two cards on top that I like. It could be any cards, but I like them to be distinguished from each other. So that's why I force these cards to the people. Now, they could select any cards they want, truly. But then you might end up having to tear up a three of diamonds. And I prefer that I tear up something busy like this. That's why I'm forcing the cards. Also, what if you pick the three diamonds and three hearts? They're not too different from each other for people to see.
So you definitely want contrast.
I want contrast.
And for the card that's actually going to get torn up, not the card they believe that's getting torn up, but the card that's actually getting torn up, you kind of want it to be
very busy.
A court card.
A court card.
essentially.
Yeah, get any court card. That'll work best. And I put them on top, and I force them. That way, I can be sure that they're going to get two cards that are very different from each other. Now, it seems like a lot of work to do it, but it's going to be worth it. Because now you can feel good that they're definitely going to see two contrasting cards, and one that you're going to tear up is going to be a busy card on the face, court card. I put them in. It doesn't matter what order, but for teaching purposes, let's put the Jack of Diamonds on top of the Ace of Spades.
Okay.
Now I'm going to force these cards, and I use a classic force mixed with a stop force, kind of a Charlie Miller idea, a little variation of his idea. So basically, instead of asking them to pick out a card or touch a card, I'm just saying, just say stop, and they say stop, and you have the option to stop. As far as they're concerned, it's ambiguous, so you have the option to stop wherever you want within 10 cards. So this makes it really easy to just pull that card out. This is an easy classic force because you're just saying stop. They don't know where exactly they stopped. It doesn't matter really. And now you go to another person, huh?
And just for clarity, you got into that by having the cards on top.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you
yes.
cut the deck and held a break, right?
Yeah, so I'm basically doing two cuts like this, and I leave a break right there, and then I say I say stop.
Stop.
And oops, and I throw down the Jack of Diamonds. Okay, I put this back on top, and I keep the break, and I do it again. Just say stop.
Stop.
Okay? And I throw down.
Yeah, and that
Ace of Spades.
didn't feel suspicious to me at all.
I think this is it's a good way to open because it just feels like two random cards selected. And now you have the Jack of Diamonds and the Ace of Spades. Now it's important that you show each individual separately so the other doesn't know. You'll see why in a moment, why that's important. Remember your card, and they're remembering the Jack of Diamonds, the card that you're going to tear up.
But if I'm the other spectator, I never see that card.
You never see that card. I show them that, and then I show this person this one. Right? They remember. Now both of these go on top like this. This makes it convenient for you to do the hop, the Harry Lorraine hop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just lose them both in the deck like that. Now they're both together on top right now. I'm going to palm those cards as I reach for my lapel. And so
Let's talk about that palm,
I'm keeping a break here, and this is the kind of palm that I like because it's happening during the motion of reaching for the deck and transferring it from my left hand to my right hand to grab my lapel. And what I'm doing is I'm aiming to grab the deck. In the meantime, I have these cards situated so that there's a break and I can rotate those cards up to my palm like this. So after you do the Harry Lorraine hop, I get a break, right? And now I have this happening here. Now you can do it with this these cards coalesced on the side, but I like to do it. I think it's easier to give to everyone here to do it this way, where it's all popped out like this, and I just have it sitting on my hand this way. They can't see that there's a break here. They can't see there's a break there because the hand is down. What that allows me to do is to easily dislodge those cards so I can pick them up and rotate them into my palm. So what's actually happening is I'm reaching out, and now without my hand over it, you can see that it's going into my palm. Literally going into my palm, and I'm setting it there. When it reaches that point, I square and grab hold of the cards so that I've got a good grip on them. I like to put this finger here because it makes it look more empty, like I have nothing there. It doesn't look as good like this. This is better. And the squaring just allows me time to get a hold of those cards in a comfortable position. Now remember, this is happening while I'm negotiating going here, so all the tension is coming.
So just like with the knowing card, when everything is squaring up, the energy of that movement is still carrying over. So the energy is moving from there immediately to that hand, which keeps going, and my eye follows the hand.
There is a
up to the
line
lapel.
that doesn't stop. You are following it all the way through, so this momentum is taking you through. You don't pause anywhere in the center. You don't do this. And then go over here. Okay.
Right.
So instead, you keep the momentum going, and they don't sense that there was anything to watch in the middle. Yeah. It's also important to realize that you don't do this and have that hitchhiker thumb.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, sometimes there's a tendency, because it's very natural for this to go like this with the thumb out, because it's easy. And then I square the deck. But this becomes more obvious as the thumb is out. So a good way to practice is to make sure that you get the thumb there. Keep it there as you're putting the cards into the palm position. Once again. So the thumb is already here. This is a good exercise. And then you rotate those cards in and look at your pocket. So from here, you're going to reach into your pocket that you just showed, and you've got two cards now in the pocket. I know that the order of the cards, so I'm going to pull out the wrong card for this person on purpose. So I'm going to pull out the Ace of Spades.
The one that I saw.
Yeah, the one you saw. And now I show him the wrong card, and I just give him a look like, I got it, right? And they're going to go, and I look at him. If he doesn't say anything, I go, what? Is that not your card? He said, no. And I look again as if I made a mistake to check. Really? But what I've done is I've switched the cards now. So now it is his card. Okay? So now I've got this card. And I act flustered. And now I am going to do the tearing.
Yeah, I want to follow along with you here. So I noticed too, when you put the card down, you're keeping the face hidden.
Yes, I'm keeping it hidden.
This whole time, and also you only crease. It seems the middle of the card.
The middle card.
You're
because,
not bringing
yes.
that all the way around.
No, but that might be difficult. You can try it this way first, but this might be seen. So if that's a problem, you can crease the whole thing. But this is better if you can, because at the end you want it to pop open, and this creates tension to make it pop open at the end. So let's try it this way first.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you put a pinch right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Now they think this is currently the Ace of Spades.
The wrong card for him.
Yeah. And as far as they're concerned, what they think is that you're frustrated. So you're going to tear it up, right? So you tear it up, and I tear down this way.
So I'm tearing down the center of the card.
Right. So,
and
yes, and this card is coming towards me on the right, while this card is going towards them on the left.
Mm-hmm. And how far do I tear?
You tear up to where the white is.
Okay, so about up to the border.
Yes, you need some of that for later. You'll see what I mean. It's got to hold on, so you don't tear it all the way, just part way. Okay, from here you take your left hand and you put it on top of the left side of the card.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now this is going to fold in until you end up with the right side being at a diagonal to the left side. So it's pointing at a diagonal. Well, this one is now horizontal. Vertical. Sorry. All right. There's a lot of steps here. From here, you're going to fold back with the right hand, okay? And it looks like you're tearing it up some more, basically. That's what you want. What you're doing is you're pretending. You're not going to tear it at all. You're just going to fold it there. So now you bring your thumb away, and you pinch right there, and you're going to pretend to snap it apart as if you're tearing it up. And now what you're going to do is bring the left hand up so they see the hand with the cards.
Mm-hmm.
All the attention goes to the moving hand. This is nice, so you're losing the subterfuge in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And it makes that sound too.
It makes the sound, and they're looking up to this hand. Now this is better than doing this.
Right.
Because
I'm
this
staring
hand,
at nothing.
At nothing. So you want them to be staring at the hand that actually has something, in order to further hide the idea that you don't have anything in the other hand. So, right, and you're looking there too to help. So all the attention goes to the moving hand, not the hand that's still.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by assumption, they're just going to think there's another piece here. Now, if there is any doubt whatsoever, you come back here and you just lay your hand flat like you just laid a card on top or a piece, and you just grab the whole thing and show that. So now it confirms that there was a card in your hand, supposedly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this looks like I tore it in half.
Yes.
There's not really any doubt here. I don't.
Yes. If there's any further proof necessary, then the next part is going to deal with that. Now, see, if you didn't crease this completely, you can see inside the card. So you have to be careful not to show the inside of the card.
Mm-hmm.
This is different from the usual way of doing this, when you're only dealing with one card and it's always that card. Okay,
Sure.
So you got to be careful not to let them see the inside of it. So when I do this, I don't necessarily show them.
So just be aware of it.
Just be aware. They're not looking for it, by the way. So you don't have to work too hard. Okay, from here, we're going to do some gymnastics with our fingers, just a little bit. because we're going to flip these pieces around where it's folded, but it's going to look like they are separated. So with the first finger here, now the thumb and the middle finger are holding on to that point where they're connected, so it's keeping it all hidden. The first finger here, you're going to put the first finger of the right hand in between those pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And you take the thumb, put it underneath, and now you have this picture. From here, you can negotiate just a little bit to swivel them. Not too much, otherwise you'll really tear it.
Mm-hmm.
But this is enough to give them the feeling that they are separated pieces. Then you go back. So you can put this finger here to help, the middle finger of the right hand.
Mm-hmm.
And your thumb goes back on top. And now you're back to where you were.
Mm.
All right?
Yeah, it's very simple. Very simple.
So like this, and like that. Like this, and like that. And then there's one, and now you're back to where you started from. Now you put, instead of putting the finger in between, you're going to put the first finger on top. And with the thumb, very gently, get underneath that right piece. And this happens. Okay. And now you come back. So there's two positions you can get into. Put the finger in between the pieces, and you have this, so you can swivel. Go back, put the finger on top, and you have that.
Mm-hmm.
Go back. From this position, you lay the card on your hand. You're going to pick it up exactly the same way, so remember to keep it that way. And then you go into your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And you say to this person, so this person you didn't say anything, you just showed it to them. This person you say, so your card is the Jack of Diamonds. No. So you miscall it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're playing with the person's imagination. So this is an affirmation without having to show them the card. You just say it. You say, your card is the Jack of Diamonds? No. Ah, I got it. I mixed these up. Let me fix this. So now you go back and do this one more time. I go 1, 2, so you get it again. I insert, while it's in this position, I insert my first finger here, and you'll see why keeping the bend is helpful. I pull this back just a little bit, keeping my hand in front. And now this is going to, when it's at a particular angle, you can pop it up like this. It'll actually pop up because of the tension that's still there with the bend. It'll just pop open. Now you don't want them to see that. So you keep your hand over while it pops, but they'll see the pop. That's nice because it looks instant.
It looks great.
Yeah, and now you act like you're fixing the card because that's really what you're doing, right? But you're just keeping the crease together, and then you just throw it out.
Wow. And for the structural people, and I don't think people know this about you, but you're really into designing different structures. You told me this is a bistable.
It is bistable. Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah. When it has two places that it's comfortable staying
that.
in, yeah.
And like that, and they both look as though the card is restored.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
And just throw it out. Now, you're not finished yet. So, as far as they're concerned, you restored a card and changed it.
Mm-hmm.
So those memories are going to mess with their minds.
It's pretty strange.
Yeah, because basically they saw you tear up the Ace of Spades and then restore it to change to the Jack of Diamonds. So that was the whole purpose of this. So that way you can do it with a normal deck of cards, and you just tear up one card. You don't need a duplicate. At this point, you reach into your pocket and you reveal the ace of spades that was this card. I can say one to keep and one to ponder. And I tear up the evidence, and they can keep that.
So now I keep one, the other spectator keeps the other.
Yes.
And
wonder why it all worked. Yes. It's magic.
it is magic.
Yeah, so I get rid of the evidence because really, as far as they're concerned, I tore up the ace of spades. And ended with the Jack of Diamonds. Yeah.
It's very interesting. And again, I mean, I think the major lesson here is how there's this intersection of memories.
Yes.
And the real effect is that you are creating a false memory.
Yes, I am.
On purpose.
On purpose.
That I will confuse later and turn this into a legend. I mean, this will be a much more legendary trick when I'm telling my friends about it.
So the answer was to add another procedure, another layer of deception, turn it into a different kind of a routine, as if I'm trying to find their cards. It's not a torn and restored. I'm trying to find their cards. I made a mistake. So I ended up tearing up out of frustration. And then at the end, I realized I can fix it by making a transposition. Oh, got the wrong cards. Wait just a moment. Now that's your card.
I think it's lovely, man. Can you take me through the whole thing and just explain what you're doing?
Yes. So
just get rid of those.
Let's get another card. Okay, sure. So let's say the Jack of Hearts and whatever we want, 7 of Clubs. And we put them on top. And now I'm ready. Of course, you don't want to do that in front of them. You just call it to the top or put them on top by your favorite method. So I'm ready to force these cards. So I just do some cuts and put it in the middle. I'm going to classic force, but I'm not going to ask them to touch a card or pick a card or take a card. I'm going to ask them to stop, which is much easier. Then
Giving yourself some wiggle room.
Wiggle room, maybe 10 cards of ambiguity to play with. So I say, would you please just tell me when to stop? And they say stop.
Stop.
Right. And I throw out the first card, which is the busy card, on purpose to my right. Then I say, I would like you to say stop, and they say stop. Right? And that's the next card. Now I show each of them separately the cards. They don't know what each other has on purpose. I take this one, put it on top, this one, put it on top, and I have to remember the order. So I know the one I got on top is the busy card, and then the numbered card is below it. I do. I like doing this cut to cut into the middle. I'm just cutting them both into the middle, supposedly, but really I'm keeping them on top. All right. So this is just the hop that Harry Lorraine does. From here, I'm going to reach into my pocket, so I get a double to prepare, and I'm already ready to lift these up, so it's already in this position, like that. So I in my movement, I do a palm while looking in my pocket. I reach in with the palm cards, I insert both cards, and I pull out the wrong card for this person, which happens to be the 7 of Clubs. And I show them the 7 of Clubs. I look at them. I could even say, your card.
And now...
and now they go, what? And I go, what?
That wasn't
No?
my card.
And I just did the switch. So this doesn't look like I did anything. It just looks like, wait a minute, it's not your card. And so I start tearing it up. I go through a bit of this, right? Put this here, reach into my pocket. So your card is the Jack of Hearts. I miscall this. He says,
Yes.
no.
Oh, no, right.
Oh, I understand. I mixed them up. I'm so sorry. Right? I pick these up again. I can do this one more time. That's better, right? So, 1 to keep. 1 to ponder. That's it.
It's a great effect.
I like it. It solves a problem. You don't have to have a duplicate. You just use a regular deck of cards and do it anytime you want.
Would you recommend a card being signed?
It doesn't need it.
Hmm.
Why would it need it? As far as they're concerned, there were 2 random cards selected, so it doesn't really need it. You can, but I think it would just bring more procedure than necessary. They may wonder why they had to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Since, I mean, if you're telling the truth, and once you ask them to sign it, then they're going to get suspicious.
Better not to then.
Well, if you have them sign that a card for that effect, then they're going to wonder about all the other effects you did. Why didn't you have them sign it for the other effects?
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah. So this time I'm going to tell you something true, which makes you wonder about everything else you told me. It's not something you should say.
Right.
I'm going to tell you a true story. Oh, so what were the other stories?
I see. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yes.